I hate to say it because I really didn't want to, but Obi-Wan, the Disney Plus show that just got released, is kind of bad. Now, please put down your Toys R Us lightsaber before striking me down. I do have a case to present. I'm not the only person who feels this way. Initially, the show was getting 9s and 8s out of 10, and now it's dropped to 6s. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not another food fight. It's just pretty disappointing. I think it's going to be pretty hard to turn the show around. You know, there could be some Oscar or Emmy-worthy scenes where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader just start making out in front of everyone. But if that doesn't happen, then yeah, chances are this show can't be redeemed out of mediocrity. The thing is with Obi-Wan, throughout the show, there's been little kind of inconveniences, either the way a character's wrote, their motivations, their actions, the way the plot moves forward. There's been little problems, but it's been easy to overlook it, apart from now. With the 4th episode that just came out, it's pretty bad. I think anyone who's watched the show can agree that Princess Leia's character is pretty bad. Now, where we are in the Star Wars timeline, she's introduced when she's a child. She's literally like 4 years old. And in her defense, I understand that child actors, you know, they don't have the complexities that an adult would, so their acting just isn't up to par. It's a lot more basic and less refined. But there are instances where child actors do a good job. Like, for example, Eleven in Stranger Things. In the first couple seasons, I thought she did a pretty good job. Now, not so much. Angela! The thing is, I don't even think the kid that plays Princess Leia is a bad actress. I just think the way they've wrote her is pretty terrible. There's a scene in the first episode that made most people want to stop watching the show after that. Princess Leia is in a forest and she's being chased by mercenaries who want to like kidnap her and hold her for ransom. Now you have these trained athletic killers and they are being outpaced by a literal 8-year-old. Oh my God! There were so many instances where she would like duck under a branch and then the mercenary catches up to the branch and they just think, oh my God, what do? I literally cannot go past this obstacle. And I'm not talking about like a huge tree log or something like that. I'm talking about a branch that's like about this thick, a couple inches. And then they just get up to the branch and they stand there looking confused like they're an Oblivion NPC with bad pathfinding. When I was watching this scene, I instantly thought in my head, you could have so made it better by her going into some kind of rock face or crevice or maybe like a little cave entrance that would only fit someone of her size. But instead you have these tree branches that could have been jumped over, crouched under, walked around, or just shot with a blaster. But yeah, to those who have seen the scene, we can all agree it's horrendous. And that was kind of it for a while. The show actually started to get good again, but then it didn't. And then once that scene happened, you started to notice this reoccurring trend of really poorly placed obstacles. Like in episode 2, Obi-Wan has to get past the checkpoint, and when he, defeats all the enemies, you've got this laser checkpoint that's about 1 meter high tall. He could have just gone around it, but instead chooses to shoot the control panel to disable the thing entirely. Like, you can see from an outside perspective, he could have walked around it. And then in the 3rd episode, you've got Obi-Wan and Darth Vader meeting up, and this is something that's been in the works for, like over a decade, because I grew up on the prequel trilogy. This was pretty big for me. And then the entire encounter is just Obi-Wan running away, and then he goes into this open construction yard, looking around at all angles like he's checking the security camera in Five Nights at Freddy's. And then when they do actually fight, it's pretty bad. I mean, I understand the entire point of this is to show that Obi-Wan has lost his training and his abilities for being in hiding for so long. But there's a bit where Darth Vader sets fire to this ground to burn Obi-Wan. His arm gets burnt pretty badly, and I thought that was pretty cool. But then the writers used this as a plot point for Obi-Wan to get away. So imagine you've got this pool of fire that, again, in a large open space. Darth Vader could have just walked around it. He doesn't. He just stands there and watches Obi-Wan get away. I mean, he literally started the fire with his force powers. He could have extinguished it as well. That is 3 separate instances of the writers using the I can't go around it cope. I also don't really like the main antagonist of the show. The main antagonist isn't Darth Vader, because that would be an actually interesting show. Instead, we have this group of Jedi that have turned to the Empire called the Sisters and Brothers. Now, the main one who gets the most amount of screen time is the 3rd sister, and her acting, again, I don't know whether she's not that competent as an actress or more how the writers have put her in terrible situations. There's a point where she gets Princess Leia in this interrogation room and she's, holding her hand out to like probe her mind with her force powers. And all she's doing is like sticking her hand out like this. And then when she realizes Leia's too strong, she goes, whew. pulls it back like she's gonna lose her hand or something. Oh my god, I'm so happy you did that. I couldn't actually tell that Princess Leia had any kind of force powers and could resist you. Thank you. The thing is, she's good at playing an angry person, but it ends there. There's not really anything else she brings. And the thing is, the way she's wrote so two-dimensionally and flat as a character, I've got this really nasty feeling that, like, in the last scene of the final episode, they're gonna make her into a good guy or something, and she's gonna help Obi-Wan escape. I can envision this now. I don't want to. I've got a feeling she's gonna turn on Darth Vader, help Obi-Wan escape, and then Darth Vader is gonna kill her. Guys, I think it's gonna happen. Now, the entire reason I made this video is episode 4 in its entirety. It's complete shambles. Basically, in this episode, Princess Leia has been captured again, and Obi-Wan needs to go and rescue her again. Now, I understand why this episode's so important. It's basically Obi-Wan's redemption arc. He's getting his powers back. He's learning how to use his lightsaber again. This is him going through a trial by fire of how to become a Jedi again. So the way the episode starts, he sneaks into this base through the underwater entrance, and he actually has a rebel disguised as a general in the Empire trying to help him out from the inside. And that sounds like a pretty cool concept, a little bit of a 007 spy thriller. It could not be more contrived. You could tell how horribly written this episode was going to be when she walks up to the gate, the security scanner goes off, and then, the head of security says, "You're not meant to be in this sector. Your ID card doesn't work." And then she does the thing that everyone in any film or TV show does when their cover's about to be blown, but the writers don't want to make it happen yet. They go, "Well, I guess I'll tell Lord Vader." And then you've got this head of security who's like a pretty intimidating guy, just cower like a complete mouse. Hang on a minute, you're telling me that people are scared of Darth Vader? No, there's no way. I'm so happy they wrote that in the show to tell me. And then Obi-Wan, who's entering through the underbelly of the base, doesn't take any kind of stormtrooper disguise, even though he easily could. And because he has no disguise, his entire bit is basically nearly getting spotted, but never getting spotted. Also, Obi-Wan and the rebel in disguise that he's talking to, they both communicate through these microphone pieces. I don't think they invented a mute button in this universe, because there's so many times where both of these characters nearly get spotted because the other is talking to them through the mic piece, and then it transmits, giving their position away to any stormtroopers walking nearby. There is literally a scene where the woman contacts him and goes like, "Obi-Wan, come in, over." And then these two stormtroopers come over. He's like, "Oh no, I guess I'm going to get found out now. What will little Luke Skywalker think?" And then when inevitably their cover does get blown and they try and escape, these doors get shut and there's about 15 stormtroopers behind. And I know this is a pretty common thing in Star Wars. Big metal door, enemies behind it. We've had it in like prequel trilogy, the main trilogy, Mandalorian. It's been everywhere. But this is like a door that you can see into. Like, it's got glass panes in it. So you just see awkwardly these 15 or so stormtroopers try to wedge this door open between them, like they're mashing X on a PlayStation controller to open an elevator in like any first-person game. And then when Princess Leia is taken off to be tortured, which obviously would never happen because it's a child in a Disney show, there's only 2 stormtroopers guarding her, and then Obi-Wan kills one, and it's like dimly lit, but you can still see. But then the stormtrooper is just looking around like, "Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from?" It was a lightsaber, so it could only be next to the guy that died. But where'd that come from? And then Obi-Wan just seems to teleport to the other side of the room in like a single cut and kill him anyway. And then when they go to escape, this is the worst part. When they go to escape, you have the rebel in disguise as someone from the Empire. Fair enough, that works. And next to her is Obi-Wan, and he's just wearing a big coat. A big coat that has Princess Leia under it. Keep in mind, the Empire know what Obi-Wan looks like. He is the most known Jedi that still isn't dead yet. And the way he looks in this coat, it's like one of those Cartoon Network bits where it's like 2 kids stacked on top of each other in a trench coat to look like an adult. And again, they're inevitably found out by the third sister, who has this big confrontation on the dock. You have stormtroopers and like other members of the Empire walking around as extras in the background, just not caring that, the third sister is confronting the most powerful Jedi that they know is still alive. And then obviously for plot convenience, because we don't know how else to save them, these 2 rebel fighters come in and they just start blowing the base up. And apparently they established this at the beginning of the episode by saying, this Empire base has no defenses because no one would be stupid enough to attack. What? And then the rebel fighters save them while they escape. The third sister picks up some fuel, I think, or a fuel cell, and throws it at one of the fighters, and they get downed. And then she says the guy's name, the other fighter, like, "Ken, I can't believe you died." Like, we're meant to care? This person had no screen time before this. Like, I genuinely do not care who you are. It annoys me, man, because this is the only Star Wars show that I genuinely had any kind of interest in. I watched all of Mandalorian. That was an amazing show. The Book of Boba Fett is kind of mid. I didn't like how much they relied on flashbacks in the opening. But this show just feels like it is built on plot conveniences, cliches, and just very poorly wrote situations for the actors. And I know for a fact that people like Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan, he's an amazing actor, but people like him, they just haven't been given good lines here. We've got 2 episodes left. I hope it picks up because, you know, we've had Hayden Christensen wrote into the show, and the only time we've actually seen him is off in the distance in a hallucination. And you could have basically just got any white person and you could have said it was Hayden Christensen because you can't even make out who it is. I'm really hoping to like clutch this in the last couple episodes. There shouldn't really be that much combat. There shouldn't be a lot of fighting. It really should be, honestly, what I would like is for the last 2 episodes, not that much combat, not that much fighting, because all of it has been so contrived and forced at the minute. I would like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan to kind of not sit down, but maybe during a fight to have some kind of argument about their beliefs. Like Obi-Wan about how the good side is good and how Darth Vader is basically saying the good side betrayed him. I think that'd be cool. It'd be a good callback to the original prequel trilogy. But yeah, the minute Obi-Wan, it's kind of midi one. Sorry, guys.